Our Kwaba SI Ediban Nimdia News Review, Nimdia News, always the best news in town. In same Brunana, say Koso Ebio, Ewo Ghana, Amai Mahama Catcher say for politics and governance. Dear, Odin Nimdia News are nowadays. Asem. We bring you all news and Ebio Sono Yedi AC, Amai want also in Answer Brown, and Musa to me Akabi. Yentian Simbia, AC, whom baby as Susan at the bottom, and so Ebefa. Ghana had politics is about NPP, NDC, and all other political parties are a trenchia waha. And now what in some say, what now what in some say, now in some be essay. I'm a per se, ye betie a 9.4 second comedian who anum. Ye betie in some no about ye we are near the adventure and so about. Press out the comment. Everybody said a baby to me, Unia King and so dear man before that, no so no subscribe to your channel, no. Name the news, and some all other relevant news if a politics from our Ghana. Yentin see me emergency, na press out the adventure and so ever to ya. Yentimra, Yaba de Rubia near Masaka.
An urgent private jet comment. That's the call by the member of parliament for the Asin South constituency, who is demanding the resignation of Foreign Affairs Minister Okujuto Ablakwa, and urges government to submit bold proposals for the acquisition of a new presidential jet to safeguard the president's safety. But this is coming up after the MP for Otafo, Vincent Echo, as if we made some revelations about the president traveling on a jet. But that particular allegation has been vehemently opposed by government. We'll bring you all of that here on Top Story, revealing the real truth here on Top Story tonight. Quote and unquote, Ghana is expecting your resignation. That's the strong message from Member of Parliament for the Asin South constituency. In the wake of allegations of the president traveling to Japan on a private jet. The demand comes after Okujoto Ablakwa's past vows to resign if President John Dramani Mahama's government used chartered flight. Now, this is coming after Vincent Asifua, who is Member of Parliament for Otafo, claimed that President Mahama chartered a private jet for his Japan trip. Okujoto Ablakwa had previously, stated that he would resign if the NDC government used private jets, citing concerns about protecting the public purse. The MP accuses Ablakwa of engaging in petty politics, particularly during former President Nana Addo Dankwa's Akufo-Addo's tenure. Vincent Asifua not only demands that we are told the truth about the president's travel, but he's urging government to prioritize the president's safety by submitting a proposal for a new presidential jet. Now, however, Deputy Chief of Staff Stan Dogbe has dismissed the claims. In a Facebook post, he clarified that President Mahama traveled to Japan on a commercial airline to submit proposals for the acquisition of new presidential jet for the president's safety. We'll get to that particular matter shortly. Vincent as Ekwasefo has joined us. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, let's get the full details. What made you conclude that the president will be traveling on that particular jet?
You take your time to read my statement, because if you clearly took your time to read my statement, you would realize that there was no conclusion at all. In the absence of information, the vacuum is created. And as a member of parliament, when I receive information from sources, you need to verify and verify, but sometimes you still leave room for doubt. And that is how I couch my statement for the Ghanaian people to understand that, yes, there is something fishy. And I'll demonstrate to you why.
So you're saying that your post was not conclusive enough?
Have you read the statement?
I have. I just read it on air. But I'm
saying... So you realize that there are some instances, I think that paragraph 2 and 3, I use conditional statement where I said, if it proceeds to here, if it proceeds to here. The first line, I was very clear with what I said. And so I am only saying. So
I get it. But your if clauses, were you then stating from the first sentence that you knew for sure that the president was on that particular plane?
Why are you so much interested in the flight that the president used? See, read the statement from Felix Opozukwache. It says that the president is traveling with a delegation. So your interest should not only be about the president. It should be about the president and the delegation. So I am suggesting to you that there's a private jet that left the shores of this country yesterday around 7 a.m. As to the people who were in that flight, you and I cannot confirm. Why is the state, why is the government silent about it, only telling us that the president traveled to Japan without naming the people that he's traveling with? In any case, go and check the president. Hold on. Go and check the president's earlier term when he was president of the republic in 2013, 2014, 2015. All the statements that were issued by the president at the time through his communications officers were that the president was traveling with a delegation, which delegation was named, and their capacity and what they are going to do also mentioned in those statements. And I could read some of them to you if you give me time.
But I want to understand something. So the president is traveling with a delegation that we've been told. But are you
aware of the delegation?
No, I'm coming. Are you alleging?
No, are you aware?
Are you alleging that QuickBooks gives me on this jet, or what really is it your connection with the jet that you put out there?
I am not the one receiving the 78 million for government communications. 78 million Ghana cedis has been approved by Parliament, given to a ministry to give information to the Ghanaian people. Why do you come and tell me that the president traveled on a commercial line? Which commercial line? We don't know. Why are you telling us that the president traveled with a delegation? And in that statement, you make it clear that the president is going to make sure that there is some amount of investment that we brought back to the state. Is it the case that the Minister of Trade is part of this delegation? We are not aware. As a member of Parliament, I'm interested. A taxpayer, I'm interested. Is it the case that the GIPC boss is part of the delegation? As a member of Parliament, I'm interested. I should be aware. Why is the government hiding this information from us when their earlier statement from 2013 to 2016 was very clear about that? Is it because of how they politicize our presidential jet and how they politicize renting of aircraft in this country? And for that matter, they are hiding such information from us.
Okay.
In any case,
now,
can anybody convince me that it is an issue of national security? If it is an issue of national security, as I was told on the floor of Parliament by my brother, Omane Boama, and the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament at the time, if that is the case, please, just about 8 months, 9 months ago, they did not care about the supposed national security.
Okay.
So why are they hiding all this information from us?
But Ms. Asifwa, did your source confirm to you, because you said you received that information, did your source confirm to you who were on it, that the president was on that jet?
I am suggesting to you that I can only help you as the fourth asset of the realm for you to unravel some of these mysteries. That the president travels, the delegation is not known. We don't even know the commercial airline that the president used. We don't know the delegation as to the aircraft that they used. Are you not interested?
I'm interested.
Why is the 78 billion Ghana cedis that's been given to a ministry cannot communicate this simple fact to us?
I'm interested, but I also want to find out from you whether you got your fact right, that the president was indeed traveling on that particular jet at that time.
My brother, that is what I'm saying. That, see, I'm a lawyer. When I'm writing, I know what I'm writing. And I know what I seek to achieve. And that's why I'm saying that when you read what I wrote, it should tell you that I wanted to seek certain answers. And that is why, from how I see the information being sent around, there is something fishy going on.
Okay.
Because I don't see why the government is hiding some of this information from us.
We are being told by government sources that indeed the 7 a.m. you gave, the president was in Ghana around 10 a.m. So how could that jet that you say left Ghana around 7 a.m.?
Why are you setting your own question and answering them? I am telling you that I'm not interested in the president. I'm interested in the president and the delegation, because in their own statement, they made mention of the president traveling with a delegation. Why do you want to single out the president? Is it the case that the jet is meeting the president, or if like some other people somewhere, that is what the president intentionally, probably, if what they are alleging is the case, use a commercial airline which we don't even know? Please, you have to take your time, else you will make a mistake.
So your focus is not entirely on the president, but his entourage and which flight they are traveling.
And the entourage. The fact that if what they are saying is true, the president did not use the aircraft that I'm talking about, it does not mean that the president will not use it along his trip. So let's be careful.
Okay. Let me bring in Peter Lanchini Tobu. He is Vice Chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining here. What do we know about this particular travel by the president? Okay, we'll bring in Peter Lanchini Tobu again. But Mr. Asanfo, Mr. Asifwa, if you government sources, and I'm quoting Stan Dugbe here, he says the president is traveling on a commercial flight with some Ghanaians with him on board. So that doesn't that answer your question about whether they are on the commercial flight or not? Hello, Mr. Vincent Ekwasofa, do I have you?
Yes. I did hear that.
Yeah, I'm asking that. If you read from the Deputy Chief of Staff, he says the president is traveling on a commercial flight with some Ghanaians with him on board that flight. Does it answer your question about, whether this delegation is traveling on the presidential on that rented jet or not? Okay, so we lost Vincent Ekwasifwa there. He's MP for Old Tafo. We'll try and bring him up again to have this interaction and to get to the bottom of this particular matter. We'll also be getting to Parliament to understand what they do know, and we'll also be speaking to government here. The Minister for Government Communication is built to speak to us so that we can get some answers to the public who want to know exactly what is happening. Vincent Ekwasifwa says he is talking about the president and his delegation, whether the delegation is on this flight that he put out there in the public space that left Accra at 7 a.m. And he says, in his words, that if the president even so left the shores of Ghana on a commercial flight, is it the fact that the president might not be traveling on that jet that left the shores of Ghana on 7 a.m.? Well, we'll get some answers for you here on Top Story. But if you read the Facebook page of Stan Dogwe, he says the president was live on many TV networks between 10:30 a.m. and 12:45 p.m. attending the Thanksgiving Mass of Dr. Edward Omani Boama at the Christ the King Parish. Did he take off in the supposed jet at 7 a.m. and flew back for the 10:30 a.m. Mass? Okay, so that's what the Deputy Chief of Staff is putting out there. Vincent Ekwasifwa is now broadening the discussion to say, well, the focus should not only be on the president, but again on the delegation traveling with the president. We'll get all of those, checks for you here on Top Story. Again, as when this whole thing came up, then the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, Reverend Tim Fojo, then added a call on the Foreign Affairs Minister to resign, because he said in the past that if they come to power and the president or the government rent jet, he will resign. And again, he's proposing that the government or the executive must come with a proposal to buy a new jet. We'll get some answers from him as well here on Top Story, brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies, and also by our friends who are also helping us out here, Shield Pension Trust, into the future with you. Okay, so that is what Stan Dugbe put out, and I've read that to you. He is challenging what the Otafo MP has put out there, that the president is not traveling on that particular jet, and that the president is traveling on a commercial flight. So when we are joined by government, we'll get more details about that particular flight that we're told the president is traveling. Now, if Stan Dugbe again brings some more clarity, says President John Dramani Mahama is on his way to Japan on board a commercial airline from Accra's Kotoka International Airport. There are so he says there are right-thinking Ghanaians on board with him. That is what they put out there. Again, he continues to say, quote, if the president's trip requires a privately chartered aircraft and not his brother's Jata, which has saved the state huge sums of money, be sure that we will go for that, but not at an exorbitant cost to the state. So that's what the Deputy Chief of Staff has been. He's been providing some clarity on this whole allegation of the president traveling on a certain rented jet, which was put out in the public space by Echo Vincent Assefa, who is the MP for Old Tafo. So we'll get to the bottom of this and get some more reaction for you here on it, because according to Echo, and I quote, it says this private jet MBAEP left Accra this morning around 7 a.m. It is estimated to cost $15,000 per hour to rent this flight. A simple calculation shows that the 7-hour journey already covered amount to $105,000. If the flight proceeds to Japan, which is likely to take about 12 hours, that would be another $180,000. 7 hours away. That would add another $105,000. Finally, if the jet flies early to Germany and then back to Accra, a total of about 20 hours return trip, that would add another $300,000. Then he adds it together to say, quote, altogether, the cost comes to an incredible $690,000 without including waiting times and or stopovers. And then he provides that particular ticket showing when the airline left Accra. Sunday, 17th August, 7:13 a.m. GMT, and was expected to land in Germany at 4:12 p.m. Central Eastern Europe time. So that is what we do know there, according to Vincent Assefa. But he says the focus must not be on the president alone. The government has vehemently denied that particular allegation. So let's try and bring in Reverend Intim Fojo now, because he has also alleged, he has made a post on X that if it is true that the president rented the jet, then the Foreign Affairs Minister should resign. Reverend, I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here.
Yeah, thank you very much, KJB.
So, where is your what is the grounding of your post on X that the Foreign Affairs Minister should resign?
Have you read my post?
Yes, I have. I just read it on air.
Very well. If my post is what you read, then in context you will understand that I'm calling for the NDC to be bold to bring a proposal prioritizing the safety of the president for a new acquisition of a presidential jet. For that conversation to be had, you remember on your platforms, for a month now, I've consistently been calling for the government to lead that discussion. We, on our side, would do the kind of opposition politics that prioritizes the safety of the president and will not do petty politics with how the president travels.
So
whether
what is informing
on private jets, whether the president travels on private jets or travels commercial or goes on presidential jets, we are interested in the safety. Any means suitable and safe for the president to embark on his official travels, that is our concern.
Okay.
And so the conversation should be in context. What we're expecting NDC to do now is to concede that indeed they erred when they were in opposition and chose to do petty politics with presidential travels. More than ever before, recent events have taught us a lesson that platforms on which the president travels are the ties that should never be politicized.
So on which basis are you calling on the Foreign Affairs Minister to resign?
On the basis of irresponsible politics he did with presidential travels. He vowed clearly, and you have all your tapes, that he will resign if any president or vice president travels on a private jet. Since they assumed office from January to this point, there have been occasions where the vice president and the president have used private jets. I have no problem with it. I have stated time and time again that if the state security apparatus determines that a vice president or the president should travel on private jets, or any other suitable means of, aircraft, that should not be a subject for discussion. But they did politics with it.
But today we are being told that the president never traveled on a rented jet for his current travel to Japan.
I never referenced the current travel, so
Okay.
that is why you need to read my post.
Okay.
I never referenced a particular travel, neither did I reference yesterday's travel. I am talking about a matter of principle. Since January till now, the president and the vice president are on record to have flown on private jets. And I have stated that we don't have any problem with that. The vice president or the president can fly private at any time as the state so determines. And I will support if that is the means available. When there is commercial flights available, the president may use it, the vice president may use it. If the travel is like that, a private jet is what has to be chartered for that trip for safety, I will support that call. But the bigger conversation we must be having is that since we understand that the president cannot travel commercial at all times, and there's need for a befitting presidential jet, which will aid the presidential travels, it's important we put aside politics and hold that conversation. And the government of the day is the one whose responsibility it is to initiate that proposal so that Ghanaians will be carried along. I have already started a lot of massive advocacy that if NDC and the current government should initiate that conversation, we should support